Being someone who's had her fair share of substance addictions and a journey within its own self between hiding and masking away and trying to comfort myself within using different substances to pretty much numb the feeling of the underlying truths. Now that I'm on this sober train, being where I don't utilize and I'm catching myself wanting to utilize substances or earth products, if you will, to work through different situations, I understand that the underlying cause has always been within me, and within us we have the answer. But it's not just substances. As I'm working through this, as I'm moving through this new journey, I have found myself actually become addicted to learning. Learning is something that, because I feel like I have went through so many years without having the knowledge that I have now come about, I realized that there's a moment, especially in the beginning, where I felt so far behind. I felt like I should be so much farther. I am 36 and I should know which direction I want to go. I should know common tasks of taking care of myself. I should know how to love myself, and I should know how to make a decision. There's little things that I utilize substances for to push through the uncomfortableness of taking responsibility for my actions. So now that I've started this learning journey and I've started picking up different pieces of information from different people, everybody's got their own way of saying a certain thing. And while a lot of it is pretty redundant, it just repeats itself. People saying what they have to say from their perspective, from their own journey, almost lightens up a whole different version of the same sentence that somebody said in the previous video or in the previous book. And so I found myself becoming addicted to it. I found myself almost for a hunt for the never ending. In the beginning, I know that my addiction actually was caused more from perfectionism and be wanting to be the best version of myself, which I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But there comes a time where having that balance of putting forth the action of what you know and learning as you go, that is required in order to really move forward. Because I felt so far behind, I felt like I needed to jam pack all this information in at one time so that I could be further along than where I currently was. And in the long run, it really wasn't the best. It was a surface level attempt where, in my instance, I didn't fully develop. I didn't fully embrace what I had been learning. I I heard it, I learned it, and somewhat embodied what I had been learning, but then I was off to the next thing. I never gave it time to actually mature. When you're learning things, it's like you're planting a seed, and that seed takes time to grow. Any kind of seed takes time to grow. One reference that I've heard a while back was, you got to think of yourself as a bamboo. Bamboos, whenever they're planted, it takes them 7 to 8 years to fully mature and actually start raising from the ground, which that's insane. And that almost brings up even more anxiety of, well, what am I supposed to do for the next 7 to 8 years? But in reality, it's already been almost 3 since I started this journey. And while I hit the surface level, and now we're kind of back to square one. Not fully, but we're definitely taking the steps back to come and really embrace and embody the things that we had learned previously, which to some extent, it's not even returning back to the literature, returning back to the lesson, because the universe will bring the lesson. It's more about embodying what is already known within myself of how to move forward, and it's taking those action steps. It's actually doing what it is that's uncomfortable to continue moving forward. And while I really enjoy learning, I also know that there's only so much learning that I can do until I actually have to do something with it. And so, even just coming on here and being able to talk to you, this has opened me up in a whole new direction where there's times where I am slightly worried, slightly scared that I don't have the most valuable topic to be chatting about. But if you're on your own spiritual journey, which I feel like is just an invitation to personal development, and anything that you come across in my videos resonates with you, I my intention is that it like lights a fire, that it opens you up to maybe a different perspective. It maybe gives you a new idea, or it just unlocks something inside that you thought you weren't possibly capable of, or maybe you were second guessing. Because I know that that's happened for me, and every time that it happens for me, I feel that dopamine. I guess that's where the addiction comes from, because it's awesome. It's awesome whenever you can initially feel and you can recognize that you're growing, that you understand new things. And so, since I have spent these last few years really deep diving and semi utilizing what I've learned, now is the time that I am taking the action. For what has been an interesting process, I must say, within the last couple months of actually taking the action steps and putting forth what I have been learning, while it was a little rocky in the beginning, because we can be in our head and we can feel like everything's amazing, but until you get put into a situation and your mind goes blank and you forget everything that you've learned until after the fact, there's definitely a whole process within, again, giving yourself grace, because now you're aware. Now you have seen where you missed it. And I will tell you, the next time that it happens again, you'll either catch yourself right after, or you'll catch yourself right in the middle of it, and you'll be able to reel it in. It's a practice. Everything in life is a practice. But I must say that maybe it's because I did the surface level and I have the idea of it in the back of my head. Now that I'm actually putting the wheel to motion and utilizing the tools that I have been learning, it's working. I'm seeing a difference, and I can tell. I am recognizing the growth within myself, within different situations. And one certain situation, while I am taking it upon myself to grow in that situation, is almost like leveling me up for the next situation, even if it doesn't even pertain, if it's not even in the same pattern. It's building up that self-confidence and that trust within myself. There's a lot of work to be done. There's a lot of trust still to be done. But in the same aspect, it's amazing the momentum that you gain once you start. And I feel like, being someone who came from a very stubborn mindset of old thinking, that no one around me was much of the positive, seeing things as they could potentially be, rather than that spiral of doom of finding every 10 different ways that it could go wrong. And so, whenever I first started this, it was almost as if I was very hesitant. I was very hesitant. It was one of those things where I was intrigued, and this is where I've started these different experiments, because we don't know what we don't know. But until you allow yourself to be put into a situation trying new ways of doing something, you don't know. You don't know. You don't have the evidence. And unless you are around people that practice having a more positive, I don't even like saying positive mindset, because it's not so much the positive, it's more of just continuously thinking of the desire instead of focusing on what you don't want. Even with saying that, you're always going to be prepared. you always should be prepared. There, you have no control as to what is going to come your way. But in the same instance, the more you focus on what you're actually desiring, the more the universe is going to bring you evidence that it's here, that it's now, that it's yours. And that's where I'm at right now. Nothing has fallen from the sky. It's not like I woke up and my entire life has changed. But in the same aspect, like I said, that spiritual awakening has pretty much been an invitation to start my personal development. It's been the invitation that I've needed to dig into myself and learn more about myself so that I can be the best version of myself. Nobody's coming to take care of you. You may at some point have somebody take care of you, but in the end, we have to live with ourselves. And it is our responsibility to create what it is that we desire, what it is, the way that we want to live. Just the fact of taking in the idea that things don't have to be hard, changing and reframing old beliefs of having to hustle, having to work my butt off, having to have multiple jobs is it's really a breath of fresh air to come to terms and to really look at it in a different way. Now, I have done research. I have looked into how people who have money have made money. And so I have that in my mind, but I wouldn't have done that if I hadn't have been introduced to the idea that the people that you surround yourself with are the people that are going to influence how you pertain throughout the day, how you act, how you think. And while I don't have access to multimillionaires here in my environment, I have access to different teachings. I have access to different books that have been around for generations that are still high end level books that people share all the time. One that I'm thinking of right now is Napoleon Hill, Think and Get Rich. That book has been around forever. And even in there, he talks about having faith. And it's not about the Holy Ghost Christianity faith, but it's having faith. It's having a trust within yourself and within the universe. And so for me, it's exciting. And because I know that I have my past addictions and I could see myself starting another pattern within just learning and not utilizing what I was learning, it's always a level up. There's always that extra step that you can take that's going to open so many different doors for you. So no matter where you're at, if you are just interested in taking responsibility for creating how you actually desire to live, or you've been on this journey for a while and you just don't feel like you've made it, I want to invite you to celebrate where you are, because you wouldn't be watching this video if you weren't moving forward. There is no time frame. You have all the answers within yourself. And while it doesn't hurt to get outside advice, to learn how other people have done things, it's really coming back to yourself. It's really coming into yourself and feeling it out, getting out of your head, out of what society wants you to do, out of what society says you should do, and really coming back into yourself and testing out the waters on actually going after that thing that you have been itching to start or itching to be. So with that, I hope you hit the follow button. Let me know in the comments, what's something that you would love to get started in, but you may have had some reservations on getting started just yet. Until next time, bye.